she's not in Girls' Generation anymore, but at least they're still friends, and that's all I wanted to hear. Hey guys, so today I'll be doing an unboxing, review, and reaction for Jessica Jung's new book, Shine. So this is just a big spoiler warning, specifically in the reaction section. So I know not everyone wants to see spoilers for this book, so if you're only here for just the unboxing or just the giveaway, then make sure you check the timestamps below. So I actually ordered multiple copies of the book from Amazon, and luckily they sent me all 3 versions of the book. So you can see here that the spines of the book has 3 different colors, and the back of the book also has 3 different pictures of Jessica. So the cover of the book is really pretty, but obviously the version with the pink spine is my favorite version. And of course I had to bring my light stick with me for the unboxing. I was also one of the first 500 to register for the Strand Books live stream. So they sent me this bookmark as well as another copy of the book. So I thought that the first 500 would also be getting a signed copy of the book, or just in general like some kind of signature on the side, but it didn't come with that, so I was kind of disappointed. 6 years ago she was recruited by DB Entertainment. I love this. To all my golden stars. I'm so nervous to start reading it because like I'm so scared she's gonna talk about like my favorite members. I don't know. It's not an autobiography, it's a fiction novel, so we'll see how it goes. I love it anytime like they mention Girls' Generation, if there's anything that involves Jessica. Like in the back it says that she debuted as a member of Girls' Generation. And then she went solo in 2014. That's not funny. That's not funny. I mean, it's true. Why hide the truth? That's what I don't get. Like, what's wrong with talking about it? Like, I guess there's nothing else to say. There's nothing left for them to say. We'll see. I'm excited to read it, and I'll let you guys know what I think. So immediately in the first part of this book, it mentions a 9-member girl group who are really friendly on camera, and then behind the scenes they're not as friendly. And these 9 girls are also part of DB Entertainment, which is obviously a reference to SM Entertainment. So a lot of people who bought this book are either buying it to support Jessica, or they want to get some tea or inside information on Girls' Generation. So if you want to hear about that and the possible tea in this book, well, you're just going to have to watch the spoiler section of this video. So the main character, Rachel, has a backstory that's really similar to a lot of foreign K-pop idols. Basically, she had to beg her family to move to Korea to chase her K-pop dream. So there are other trainees mentioned in this book, but I noticed that their physical appearance is never actually described. So obviously I had to match their names to the faces of existing K-pop idols, such as Mina, the mean girl, being twice as Mina. And it was kind of funny imagining twice as Mina trying to bully Rachel. So this book touches on a lot of different topics and issues in the K-pop industry, such as disordered eating, sexism in the industry, the ridiculous training hours, the non-stop, all-day, super busy schedules, and other topics like the pressure that trainees feel to debut really young or else they'll miss their chance to debut. In general, for K-pop fans like me who've been into K-pop for so long, like I've been listening to K-pop for 10 years or more now, this book might seem a little bit shallow on everything it touches on. So you might read the book and think, well, everyone knows that the industry is like this, duh. Whereas newer K-pop fans who might have gotten into K-pop because of BTS or Blackpink, they might read the book and feel like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know the industry was like this. This is crazy. I think that this book is really good for younger K-pop fans to see the darker sides of the K-pop industry. You know, a lot of K-pop fans, once they're getting into K-pop, everything seems really glamorous and fun. And Rachel, and telling the story through her eyes, she really gets into the more frustrating parts of the industry. Also, if you like reading stories about mean girls and stories with romance in it, then this one would be great too. Jason, who's the love interest of the story, he's somewhat of a generic perfect boy, and then Mina, who's the bully, is somewhat of a generic mean girl. But both of them aren't too one-dimensional. You get into their stories and you learn more about them instead of just being just generic characters, which I really appreciated. In general, this book is really lighthearted, which is a good thing because it makes it a really easy book to read. But also that means that it never really gets too deep into some of the topics that it discusses. And because of that, it kind of left me wanting more. I would love to read a more mature version of this book. For example, Rachel meets a senior idol named Gina, and we only really get to see snippets of what Gina went through as a senior girl group member. I feel like I would love to read a book just from her experiences because it seems like she's been through a lot compared to Rachel, who really just kind of brushes the surface on a lot of these topics. And just because this is Jessica's book, obviously I'm going to recommend that you buy it. Even if you're an older fan like me, it's still worth reading through it. So now I want to talk about my reaction to this book. So if you do not want to hear any spoilers, then make sure you skip to the next part of this video because I will definitely be talking about a few spoilers. Not all of the spoilers in the book, but just a couple of them. So I feel like most people started reading this book because they wanted to see all about how Jessica's spilling all the tea. They wanted to hear all the truth. OT9 is fake, how the girls don't even like each other. Oh, I knew it all along. They hate each other. The sisterhood is fake. And honestly, I even wanted to hear all of the tea about Girls' Generation. Especially earlier in the year, there was a Shine playlist that was leaked. It included songs from Girls' Generation from when after Jessica left the group. So I was like, my OT9 heart is like, maybe they're still friends because this playlist exists. So of course, me being me, I was looking into that playlist like, they're still sisters. She's not in Girls' Generation anymore, but at least they're still friends, and that's all I wanted to hear, that they're still talking to each other behind the scenes. So of course, I went into this book thinking that I was going to say, oh, this chick, she's the main dancer, so that's Hyoyeon, or oh my gosh, this other girl, she has an eye smile, and that's definitely Tiffany, like one for one. Unfortunately, the book does not spill any tea at all about Girls' Generation. I wanted it to be a tell-all. Everyone else wanted it to be a sneaky tell-all under a different name, so maybe she wouldn't get sued by SM. But unfortunately, that is not this book. And I don't think that's a bad thing either, because I think that there are appropriate situations to bring up her history with Girls' Generation, and maybe this book isn't one of them. It's just the fact that she was a part of that group and also an iconic piece of that group for a long time, so you can't deny that history. But we don't have to talk about them all the time when it's something that involves Jessica. This is just her time to shine. At first I was kind of disappointed because I really wanted to hear more about the behind the scenes with the girls, but eventually you get over the fact that it's not a tell-all, and I eventually got really invested into Rachel's story. So first I want to talk about Mina's character. So Mina is the mean girl of the group. I wasn't looking forward to reading about the mean girl at first because I thought this would be a generic story about how the underdog, who's Rachel, finally stands up to the mean girl, and that's her big and shining moment where she finally stands up to the person who's always bringing her down. So it was a pleasant surprise to see that that's not really the point of the story. And there's multiple times throughout the story where Rachel doesn't just stand back and let Mina bully her. She actually stands up to Mina like multiple times throughout the story. So I really appreciate that because I just don't want to read another stereotypical story, to be honest. So Jason is a whole nother issue. The whole time that she's flirting with Jason or going on dates with Jason, in the back of my mind, I'm like, girl, don't do it. You're so close to debuting. You do not need these boys. Worry about your career. Slowly, like throughout the book, she's just falling for this boy. And I'm like, no, you're so close to debuting. Just leave the boys alone and worry about singing and dancing and K-pop. So anyways, at one point of the book, Rachel tried to fast track her debut and her career by basically teaming up with her mentor and releasing a leaked video, leaked because it's basically staged, with her singing a duet with Jason. And pretty much Rachel and her mentor knew that they would record this video, but they didn't tell Jason. And I didn't appreciate that because it felt like they were basically doing this without his consent. And because of how tricky the K-pop industry is, this might even ruin his career. And I know that this book talks about a lot of double standards between male idols versus female idols, but I still think it just wasn't right for them to do that because he already debuted and he already has a career. You don't know if this is something that's going to destroy his career, basically. And then eventually this leaked video ends up working in her favor, and then they just kind of don't talk about it until later on in the book. And I was just like, okay, so we're not going to discuss how what she did was wrong. So halfway through the book, she ends up doing something that's like a pre-debut track, similar to Triple H with Mina and Jason. And by this part of the book, basically the three of them are well known in the industry, and somehow Jason still had time to take Rachel out on dates. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, how do you have time to be flying to Japan, walking around Harajuku, and going to eat at the Kawaii Monster Cafe? Like, how does a K-pop idol have time to do that when you literally just released a new song and you're promoting that song? This makes no sense. Come to find out, the only reason why they had this much time to go on dates is because basically it was staged by the company. So the company was basically sending paparazzi to take pictures of Jason and Rachel's dates. And at the same time, Jason would also be going on dates with Mina just to sell a love triangle, all building up to Jason's solo debut because he's originally in a boy group, but he's gonna do a solo debut. So I'm just like, okay. So the whole time Hyuna and E'Dawn didn't have to get kicked out of Cube. Cube could have just did a whole Triple H love triangle marketing scheme or something and sell that to the fans, but here we are. Anyways, this is a book, so obviously it's not going to end up the same as real life. So in this book, there's a lot of topics that they just kind of brush the surface on. One of those being the fact that Mina's dad is apparently a really, really powerful figure in the industry. Her family in general has a lot of money and power, but it was kind of disappointing because we don't really get to see him use any of that power to make more drama. Everyone just kind of talks about how her family has power and her dad is especially threatening. But that's it, they just say it. We don't really see it in action. So eventually, after the whole Triple H promotion thing ends, DB Entertainment announces that they're going to debut a 9-member girl group, with Rachel being the lead singer and Mina being the lead dancer. And there's this one part of the book where Mina is wearing an expensive watch, which is the same watch that either the CEO or one of the executives of the company is wearing. And since it's the end of the book, they don't really go beyond that. They just kind of say that. But in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, this girl is sponsored. That's the only reason why she's about to debut, because she's basically being sponsored by one of the executives of this company. But it's the end of the book, so they don't really go into details about that. I'm just like, oh my God, so is she being sponsored or not? Like, what's the truth? So there was one part of the book that I felt like really touched me, and that's the part of the book where Rachel's mom is showing her a fan cam of Rachel. And this isn't like one of the official company fan cams. This is like a traditional old school fan cam where it's actually a fan who loves an idol so much that they're focusing on just recording you. I don't know, I guess that part, I just really liked it because it just made me think like, this is like one of those things where a trainee realizes they finally made it. Like, they have fans now, they have people supporting them. This book was kind of disappointing. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was still kind of disappointing just because I felt like there was so much filler and just things that were unnecessary to bring up because they didn't go deeper into it. For example, one of Rachel's friends, Akari, is a Japanese trainee, and by the end of the book, she left DB Entertainment or got kicked out or something like that. And they didn't really explain why. They just kind of introduced her as a Japanese trainee, and then she just left. And then it's like, we're not really gonna get into detail about that, I guess. I don't know. I thought it would go into detail about maybe the discrimination that she was facing, like as a foreign trainee because she's Japanese, but it didn't even go into detail about that. It's just that she got kicked out. So I was like, okay. She's just like, she's basically any other trainee. So that's why I felt like there was no point in having her plot, you know? Like, there was nothing. It's just that she had a friend and then the friend didn't get to debut. All that is to say that I enjoyed reading the book. Definitely felt like it was missing a lot, but it was still entertaining enough that I read until the end and enjoyed it. Anyways, there's so much more that I could say about the story, but I don't want the video to be too long, so let's get into the giveaway. So I'll be giving away 1 copy of Shine to 3 different people. All you have to do is like this video, so give it a thumbs up. and then answer any one of these questions in a comment below. So the first question is just answering what is your favorite song by Jessica. The second question, is there any part of the book that you're looking forward to reading? Or you can just leave a comment about whatever you want below. So you don't have to be a subscriber to enter this giveaway, but I would really appreciate it if you check out my channel. So I make dance tutorial videos, I like to post dance covers and cosplay, and more content like that. So I would appreciate if you check out my channel and subscribe if you like that kind of content. All of the rules to this giveaway is also in the description box below. So thanks so much for watching this video, and a special shout out to all of my patrons. So if you want to support me on Patreon, I also have that linked below. So if you support me there, you can get access to exclusive content and